folks, welcome to the Daily Coin. My name is Rory, and today is Sunday, July the 8th, 2018, and I have on the line a returning guest and a new guest. And we love, but we have CJ, producer. You know him, you love him, you know him as El Cuco over on Rogue Money, and love talking to CJ. And we have Elise, who CJ is working with over at My CBD Edibles. And we are going to talk about all things CBD and edibles and delicious food and health. And before we go any further, I have to tell you that nothing that you are about to hear is meant to be as medical advice. You need to go to a medical professional to ask questions. We are presenting information just from our perspective and nothing more. So, CJ, Elise, welcome to the Daily Coin.
Thank you,
good
Rory.
morning.
Excited to be
Thank
here.
you.
Well, I'm glad that you guys are here.
Thank you.
What's that?
I said, thank you. We're excited to be here.
I'm very excited about this show because there's no one that's having this conversation that I'm aware of. And there may be reasons for that, but I've given the disclaimer. We're not medical professionals, and nothing that we're talking about is medical advice, but we are going to talk about the CBD content, the dosage, these types of items, and how they are enveloped in these beautiful, handcrafted, unbelievable foods that you guys are offering. And I wanted to start, just before we started recording, we were talking about the coffee, the CBD coffee, and it's infused with CBD, and I believe that it's 375 milligrams in a 12-ounce package. And we were talking about how my wife makes my coffee. She puts the coffee together for me, and I get up and turn it on in the morning, and that's it. That's my role. She puts it together, I turn it on and enjoy. And she didn't get the measurement right, which I only use about 1 to 1.25 ounce of coffee. And CJ, you told me that the sample that you sent me was for 1 pot, or for a half a pot of coffee.
Correct, half a pot, yes.
And how much did you send me?
I believe those dosage were down to, at least what would you say that was in there? How many teaspoons in that sample pack?
Well, now, honestly, I think we were measuring them out to 3.5. Is that right? No, I'm sorry. I don't remember the grams we weighed those out to, but I remember that I thought it was a half pot of coffee. How about that?
Okay.
That's not very useful, is it?
Well, now, Elise, you were saying that you use how much ground coffee to a pot?
I mean, I used to work at a very popular coffee place with the green lady on the front, and I make my I make my coffee pretty strong, 3/4 cup per pot, which works out to 12 tablespoons per pot of coffee.
I use 1/8 of a cup, which is for a half a pot. It makes 2 cups, 2 big cups, not the typical TV coffee cup, but a real coffee cup. It's the pot says 6 cups, and that's what I use. It's a rounded 1/8 of a cup measuring spoon, so it's about 1.25 ounces, and that's about it.
Oh, well, see, I'm discussing a 12-cup pot for me.
Yep.
So if you have a 6-cup pot, what we sent you should have been a full pot of coffee.
Wow. I made two pots and had just a little bit left over, so I mixed it in with the other coffee, with my normal coffee. So Just to give you an idea of what kind of difference that we're talking about. And that's important because of what I said. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's 375 milligrams in a 12-ounce package. Is that right?
Uh-huh.
So how many pots of coffee, or how should that 12-ounce package be utilized for the benefit of getting the CBD out of it for my health purposes?
At least I think we broke it down. Like if you look at a 12-ounce package of our organic CBD infused coffee, yes, you're correct, Roy. So I think that breaks out to 375 milligrams total. On our description on our website, we list like a 6-ounce cup contains 5 milligrams of CBD, and I think 6-ounce cup is probably it's not universal because obviously everyone pours their coffee or makes their coffee different. But that was kind of the dosing information that we listed on our website.
Okay.
And in the whole pot or in the whole bag, the way that I make my coffee, let me say this, is like about 6.5 pots of coffee in a 12-ounce bag.
That helps a lot. So, and you're saying a 6-ounce cup is about 5 milligrams, CJ, and I'm probably using a 12-ounce or a 14-ounce cup, something like that. And most people, I think, are probably using a cup that's in that range. I don't think anybody's, like I said, the TV coffee cup, the 6-ounce, like what you're talking about, is the thing, the coffee cup that sits on a saucer and looks really pretty and so forth. I don't think that very many people are using those anymore. They might be. If you are, great, then, but most people are having.
Rory, yeah. And another really quick thing that's important in regards to brewing CBD coffee, and I think I shared this with you, is that you'll want to make sure to utilize a reusable mesh type coffee filter. You can easily pick those up at most places. It's probably less than $6 or $7. You'll want to utilize those because a paper based filter will actually hold and capture some of the CBD isolate we use. So you want to make sure to use a reusable filter.
Okay, another very important piece of information, and my guess is that would be universal for anything that you're straining like that. That is, if you're not using some type of gold plated or copper type of mesh to strain it. I like it.
Right. Yeah. The paper, when I mean any like super into their coffee kind of person will tell you that the paper absorbs the oil from the coffee. And when we've got these CBD infused beans, then the CBD is actually, it attaches itself to existing oils. So it's in the coffee oil specifically. And that you just, it's just like any other making coffee. You want it to come all the way through and all the way out. So either one of those reusable filters or also a French press would do the deal. A percolator would be sufficient if you're not using a filtered one. So there's lots of options. You just want to kind of try to keep paper out of the game.
Okay, very important. And I have to tell you, my wife, she made the first cup or the first pot. It was a lot weaker, and the review that I did, and if you look you can see on the screen where I updated the article because my wife didn't make the coffee to the normal specifications, and she actually told me that she used about half, which was like, okay. That explains why I wrote the article the way that I did originally. But when I made coffee the way that I normally make it, the flavor was just unbelievable. Very rich, a little bit nutty on the end. Really, just a really great, flavorful cup of coffee. Loved it, and it will be part. All of these products will be part of my go forward. Just so everybody knows. I mean, I'm a big fan. I believe in CBD, the health benefits of it. I really do. And we're going to get into that in just a minute. Tell me about these Buckeyes that are chocolate with peanut butter in them.
Okay, well, this is actually my grandma's Buckeye recipe.
Cool.
And near and dear to the hearts of everyone in my family, that's for sure. Now, I think there's a little bit of a difference here between some of the other Buckeyes that you'll find. We do include walnut pieces in the Buckeyes, which I think adds some depth to it because they are very sweet. And, I did read your comments on the online regarding the chocolate taste not being as pronounced and kind of the lack of shippability of them with how it became sticky on the paper. So we've actually updated our method in packaging.
Okay.
And I'm doing a full dip into chocolate now to enclose all of the sticky, yummy middle. And then we're not individually wrapping them, we're stacking them in a tube. And so they should travel, and the chocolate's a little bit thicker on there, which I personally prefer. So more chocolate, more better, right?
Exactly. Oh, I love it.
Hey,
now,
Elise, as well that just retaining and holding the actual isolate as well, the CBD with, because that's where in the middle is where the CBD is located. So having it completely chocolate coated is going to ensure that the proper amount of CBD is listed there. And Rory, this is consistent with all of our products. Just so your listeners and your fans know that they can go to our website, and not only on our website but also in our new retail packaging. We do place a QR code there to validate testing, and we utilize Iron Laboratories, and they do our testing for our products. So you can just use a QR code app from your phone, scan that QR code, and you'll be able to go validate the quality of CBD that we're using. 99% pure CBD isolate. It contains absolutely no THC, and the testing will reflect that.
Cool. That once again, much needed information as far as the being able to it's a supplement. The CBD oil, we're supposed to call it a supplement, and that's what it is. But it's to benefit our health, and that's the bottom line. And the Buckeyes they have 10 milligrams of CBD in each Buckeye. And CJ, you said that the coffee has about 5 milligrams per 6-ounce cup. So this is 2 different measurements. And on your show on Friday, CJ, you had mentioned that you had read some reports regarding as little as 10 milligrams of daily use of CBD oil was impacting people's health as far as being able to get off or change their high blood pressure medication, that it was impacting that aspect of their life. And what should I expect as far as with as little as 10 milligrams a day? I mean, am I going to really see a significant change, or should I see a significant change in my health, or do I need more? Do I need less? I mean,
right. Real quick,
what are you reading as far as that?
That's a great question, Rory. And just real quick, just so that your listeners know, currently all FDA guideline material that are listed for CBD, really we can market and advertise it as a nutritional supplement. And I want our listeners to know that, because there's a lot of concern. That's the number one question. At least you can validate this, especially with some of the trade shows that we participated in, that's the number one question that we get asked is, well, how much should I use? How can I leverage CBD to improve certain health conditions? So we have to make sure that we inform people of that, because the FDA has sent advisory letters to some of the largest CBD manufacturers saying, hey, don't make any health claims and all this. Now, we can agree or disagree with that. In fact, Roy, recently the FDA just approved an actual prescription medication that utilizes CBD to help treat some of the most severe forms of epilepsy. So I'm glad the FDA is moving towards understanding the medicinal benefits of CBD. It's something that we know, right? All of our listeners, your lease, we know the benefits of CBD. So I think it's important just to let your listeners know that. And then also one of the great resource in terms of beginner's guide to CBD, cannabis therapies, as well as just a user's manual for CBD. There's a great website called www.projectcbd.org. And this can validate a lot of the information I go here and read quite often. We participated, we've interviewed doctors. So as far as the dosing regarding CBD, that is the very unique thing around cannabinoids and how they work in our body. So there's no magic formula that's going to work specifically for an individual. It's kind of a beginner's phase of trying to understand what conditions CBD can help with, and then to identify whether there's improvements. And that really is based upon the individual. So that's what makes the whole dosing part so difficult, is every individual is different. So what we can speak to is possibly feedback that we've kind of received. And Elise, would you mind sharing the story of your father's engineer friend and what he shared with you regarding his dosing of CBD?
Sure. Well, I had my parents up here for a weekend to visit, and I have pretty much switched exclusively to CBD coffee, and I wasn't even thinking about it. And with my physical situations, I really don't mind getting an exorbitant amount of CBD in my system. And I sat here and drank probably 2 pots of coffee with my parents. And my dad said, he kind of felt different on the way home, and he didn't know what was going on. So he took his blood pressure when he got home, and he was well within his goal ranges for his healthy blood pressure and resting heart rate. And he thought that was very strange, because he's been changing medications and he's never gotten down into his goal area. And so he was pretty excited about that. We started having a conversation, and he opened up a conversation with one of his buddies who is an engineer about it. Now, let me just say, kind of a stereotypical engineer, this guy started taking 5 to 10 milligrams of CBD every day, and then he started charting his blood pressure and resting heart rate, because he was wanting to see if it would have any benefits on him. And the chart that he sent was honestly surprising. I mean, I know that I feel effects myself, but to see the documented information from him and what he had been experiencing since he started was just the constant decrease in resting heart rate, as well as blood pressure. And that's pretty stellar in my opinion. And I'm so glad that he is such an engineer that's how he decided to handle his investigation, because it was very enlightening to me, I guess.
That's really a great story, and I can't wait until stories like that are everywhere, because I think that stories like that are what terrify big pharma, the CDC, and the FDA, in all honesty, because that's reality.
I think that there's something. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there's something to be said for how he was managing his dose and what he's doing. So to go back to that conversation where you were asking, what's our dose? Obviously always discuss with the doctor first, but when you pick a dosage, if there's something, if it's pain management, if it's, whatever it is that you're seeking to address, maybe kind of track it.
Yeah.
My pain's a 10 out of 10 today, or my heart rate's here, or the swelling in my ankle, like at 12 inches around, or whatever it is. And just see how it does for you, because I think that that's the most important thing. Is we can never claim to be a cure-all, but I believe that I think that it is a useful supplement.
I couldn't agree more, because my personal experience, and Natural News published an article a couple of days ago, and I republished it at the Daily Coin, and the name of it is 10 science-backed benefits of cannabis. And the very first one that they list is cannabis can relieve many types of pain. I have gout, and I've been taking CBD. I was doing the oil, a spray, for several months, and then I decided to switch to pill form, and it's by the company Plus CBD oil, and one of the bigger outfits out there. And the dosage that I'm taking daily, or have been, has been 15 milligrams. I stopped taking it, and then my gout kicked in, and I started taking it immediately, and in less than 48 hours, it had subsided, which I was pretty happy with.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Rory, also one thing that's very important in terms of why we decided to come up with the edibles was Elise's design. Elise designs all of our products, and why we did that is because you're exactly right. You mentioned alone just two different types of introducing CBD into our body, whether it's the oil, whether it's pill form, or whether it's a topical. It's just very important that someone's first experience beginning with CBD is the right experience, and that's why there are so many different options. The last thing that I want is somebody to purchase a specific product or CBD oil and take it and say, hey, this tastes off, or I didn't like it at all, and then they just immediately shut that down. So by providing CBD edibles, and in case I'm wrong, I think that for the most part everyone likes food.
Yeah.
I may be wrong there. I may be wrong, but I think everyone likes food. So for that reason, Elise has designed some wonderful products for my CBD edibles, and there's a variation there in the amount of CBD, whether it's our granola bars, whether it's our Buckeyes, whether it's our coffee. Each individual kind of has to, as they begin their diet regimen with CBD, and in part, if you are taking a blood pressure medicine, to talk with your doctor, about it. And the medical community is really making a lot of progress. They are really validating some of the things CBD manufacturers, some of the things that we're talking about here. So there will be more clinical studies to validate why and how CBD product works so well in our bodies, which I'm really excited about. So I'm excited about the growth of this, but for each individual, again, just talk with your doctor and let them know that, hey, I'm going to, or your medical profession, that, hey, I'm going to begin doing some type of different CBD products, and then just kind of customize it. It really has to be a customized approach. And I know that people don't like that because we're so used to, I take 250 milligrams of Advil, I take 500 milligrams of this, or I take 50 milligrams of that. We're so conditioned to understand current medicine, and how current medicine really doesn't customize it a whole lot for each individual, because each of our bodies chemistry is just so different. But so experience, with CBD, maybe gradually go into it, and then from there, kind of, what treatment you're specifically wanting to treat. So whether it's nausea, depression, maybe chronic pain, there's so many different medical conditions that CBD helps for. So whatever that specific condition is, try a little bit of a dosing, 5, 10 milligrams, per day, and see how you feel after a few days, and whether it's an impact. And if you don't, then that may be a reason to maybe take a little bit more, partnering with a medical, professional. But that's the difficult thing with the dosing part. And Lisa, I'm not sure if there's anything that you want to contribute to that or not.
I mean, I think that it all just boils down to our limited understanding of the endocannabinoid system. Like that really, it affects so much, and we just really don't understand it very much. I feel like we're just starting to acknowledge that it even exists, honestly. So, but yeah, you're right about, the individualization. Personally, I mean, just to kind of give some back to this, I've had 3 major back surgeries and 8 reconstructive surgeries on my right leg. And all of my lumbar and thoracic spine is fused into one big thing. And so I experience some pretty high amounts of pain occasionally. Amounts of pain that used to send me to the doctor. I would go to the emergency room and they would give me, it's not fentanyl. They would give me fentanyl, and which is quite a drug. And I would feel funny for, a long time after it. And it was, and again, you have to wait, the whole time to say, oh, this is bad enough to go to the ER, and, all that business. And I have started doing some large dose CBD consumption when that pain starts, specifically some very severe sciatic pain. And the way that I'm consuming that, I'm doing an inhaled version, but it's such a high dose that literally by the time I'm done coughing, my pain is gone.
Wow.
So there is, you do really have to specialize it to your, I use a dose to keep my muscles relaxed, and that's my daily kind of everyday coffee consumption that I'm doing. And that helps significantly. But when you have, that kind of severe take me to the hospital pain, you cannot expect 5 to 10 milligrams of CBD to make that jump. So
Exactly.
It really is something that you have to talk about. And I did consult with my doctors about it, and their response to me was, well, I can't prescribe it or give you any real advice on this, but if you find it's helping, keep using it. So that was the information I got from my doctor. Maybe other people's doctors would, but I also don't have medications to worry about interacting with. So
Roy, a funny story. I was in a pharmacy, and the particular pharmacist happens to know about my CBD edibles and the products, and Lisa and I really want to advocate also just for the education part, because right now part of why you're doing this interview is what you just said. There's not a whole lot of education out there right now going around regarding CBD. So this particular pharmacist saw me. She came out. It's like, hey, I actually had my first patient ask me about CBD oil, and I was really nervous. I really didn't know what to do. The company's not really giving us any information at all. I'm like, that's just such a big disservice, because pharmacists, for the most part, are really trusted in regards to the experts regarding medication. They know the ins and outs and everything. So I'm really hoping by you having us on your show, by us creating new products, I'm really hoping that that's going to help to cross that bridge that allows more of traditional medicine to be more accepting of what we're advocating for with CBD, and include that in their educational pieces for the trusted medical professionals that are out there right now.
We can only hope. And one of the things that I want to discuss is the white chocolate coconut pecan truffles.
Oh, you just made me hungry.
Oh man,
that was the whole idea. I mean, we're getting a little too serious, but this product is unbelievably delicious, and it has a little higher CBD content. It has a 20 milligram per piece content. And one of the things that you said Elise, made me think of mind altering, mood altering. If I'm consuming 20, 30, 10, 5 milligrams of CBD, should I expect some type of THC high, or should I expect some type of mood altercation or mind altercation? Because you mentioned fentanyl. I don't take narcotics anymore. If I go to a doctor and I'm in pain, they immediately want to give you Oxycontin or some other opioid, and I tell them flat out, I don't want any of your narcotics. I only want non-narcotic pain medicine. And the reason
They
for
look
it.
at you funny, don't they?
What's that?
I said they look at you funny, don't they?
Well, they treat you like a criminal. And the last time that it happened, the doctor actually said, "Do you have a problem with addiction?" And I looked at him, and I got really angry, and I said, "I don't have a problem with addiction. I have a problem with you immediately jumping to a narcotic that's going to turn my brain to jelly." And I said, "I know that there are other products out there and that are non-narcotic."
To answer your question about the mind altering, mood altering business, if you were taking enough of a full hemp oil, there is that 0.3% of THC. So I suppose if you were taking enough of it, that eventually that THC would have an effect on you.
Okay.
In our products, that's not something you have to wonder about, because we only have CBD. So in the endocannabinoid system, there are two types of receptors. There's CB1 receptors and CB2 receptors. CB1 receptors are largely up in the head, and CB2 receptors are primarily in the body. CB2 receptors accept CBD. So most of the effects that you're going to have are body effects. It can, obviously, there are claims out there that it helps with depression and things like that. There are a few there. It's not that all of the CB1 receptors are in the head and all of the CB2 receptors are in the body. That's just primarily where they are. So I would say, and honestly, from other information, physically relaxing things can cause a mental relaxation. It's like when you're if you're super stressed out and amped up, you can choose to take a really open stance with your body, shoulders back, feet apart, breathe relaxed, and that relaxed status in your body will help send a message to your head that you're not stressed, that you're not in any danger, and it helps to bring that down. I don't know if that is the connection with the CBDs, that it creates a physical relaxation, and that is part of what helps with the other. But there is this information out there. So, but I myself, even when I take those super high doses, I'm taking. When I talked about doing an inhalation, I've been working on. Carlos, can I share this? The product I've been.
Go for it.
Go for it. I've been working on a CBD shatter, which is a concentrate that's hard. You can touch it, break it, and it is a smokable. So it can go into, depending on the design of your, in vape pen, so to speak, it can go into that, or you could use it, in a pipe that is intended for it. But I received no mental changes from that dose. I mean, I am more physically relaxed, but I don't feel high.
Okay.
So.
Roy,
Yes.
real quick, in terms of our products and how our product is designed, so we actually use what's called a CBD isolate, and isolate is the powder form. So when hemp farmers are going through and they're having their hemp processed and getting ready for it, it turns into a powdery substance, and that's what is actually used to make our products, and it's 99% pure CBD. If you scan our QR code, it's going to show that there's actually absolutely no THC detected in it. And why that's important is because when we infuse our products with that, you don't have to worry about any of the THC. You also don't have to worry about any of the carryover flavors that sometimes come from some of those manufacturers that are making their products with CBD oil. Interesting fact is, I know our prices are fairly pricey. Elise and I did consider going through an actual product manufacturer and having our products, made by them. And when we ventured to this manufacturing of product, I'm not going to name them by name, and we took a look at how they were infusing their products. And then we took a bite of their top selling CBD chocolate, which, by the way, I think was a hefty, I think 60 milligrams of CBD, maybe even more than that. Elise and I almost literally like spit it out because not only could you smell some of the CBD oil carryover, the extraction method, but it just tasted gosh awful. So when we launched My CBD Edibles, we specifically went out there to be a game changer in this space. We're not there to participate. We're there to make quality products because we see what's currently being offered. The candies and the gummies and things like that. And those things are great, but we want to bring about small batch from scratch, delicious CBD products that are infused properly with organically sourced CBD isolate. So, our products, I believe, are game changer to the industry. And as you can attest with your writing, just absolutely delicious products that we're producing, Rory.
It is a great product. And I began the review that I did of all of your products, with the exception of the doggy treats. I'm not going to eat doggy treats, but but I mean, I was in the food industry in handcrafted small batch food industry for 10 years. I worked for a very small mom and pop organization, and we participated in the food and some of the bigger fancy food shows, the biggest one being the fancy food show that's in San Francisco twice a year. Last one that I attended was 1995. And so I have an idea of what high quality, small batch, handcrafted foods are all about. And you guys hit all the high marks on all of these products. And in particular, the two that were outstanding to me, in all honesty, were the granola bars and the truffles. The granola bars that have it sounds pretty hefty to me. I think it's 30 milligrams per bar. Might be more than that. I know it was, let me look at it.
Hey,
it's
well, we've actually adjusted the...
Go ahead, Elise. Go ahead, Elise. Go ahead.
We've actually adjusted the size of the granola bars.
Okay.
The package still will contain the 60 milligrams in the whole package, but we've cut the granola bars in half, because our original granola bar, when we did the FDA regulations on it, it had 12 grams of protein in it with 30 milligrams of CBD. And while that might be great for somebody going on a big long bike ride today, 12 grams of protein is pretty hefty for the average person for a breakfast. So we cut it into half. So now they are same recipe and everything, just smaller pieces. If you want to eat two, go for it. But we did adjust that. So now we have the 5 milligram coffee, the 10 milligram Buckeye, the 15 milligram granola bar, the 20 milligram truffle. And I think that that's a nicer spread.
That's a great spread. Now, the Now I received the samples last week, and what did I receive? Was that the old version or the new version?
You received the new version.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and to be perfectly honest, that's a great size bar because I compare.
Yeah, the other one was about double that size, Rory. So
oh wow,
it was just way too much for one consumption. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the yes. So I'm glad that actually makes a lot more sense. And I was reading the nutrition guide, and it's was explaining what was in it. I'm sitting there thinking, my goodness, this has 30 milligrams of CBD in it. So I better. So I literally only ate half of it because I didn't want. I wasn't sure about the dosage. So to know that it's only 15 milligrams, that's a lot better. That eliminates any questions that anyone should have, and even the 20 milligram in the white chocolate coconut pecan truffles, which are unbelievable. I mean, those are awesome.
Roy, in part, I did that on purpose not to tell you because I knew that you were going to be so tempted to eat all your CBD products in one setting, and I knew that was going to be way too much.
Oh no! It was. I was when I sat down to do the review. I would eat a little bit of one. Like I started with the butter mints, which are really really good. Those are very intense. The flavor on those is really. I mean, they are very, very minty. They're very creamy. I really love the texture on the butter mints, and then they have this little tartness right on the end of them, which is really it's a great product. But I started with those, and then I worked my way through. I had the little bit of the granola bar next, and then the Buckeyes, and then I wanted to save the best for last, the white chocolate truffles, because just the name alone, my goodness. And then I had the coffee the next day, actually the next 2 days. So I had quite a bit of the CBD in me at one time because this, I went through these 4 items. Yeah, it's 4 items. Yeah, in about 3 hours time. So it was just it was a lot, and I wasn't sure what I felt a little different, and that was the main reason that I was asking about the mind altering and mood altering, because you said, and then when you said that your dad or the engineer friend had experienced a little something going on that he wasn't sure about, it was like, well, maybe I was feeling something there, but probably wasn't anything except for my mind. And just so people know, I've been clean and sober since 2002. So if there's something that gets in my system, I'm very sensitive to it, and I don't want it in there. So I don't want any of that.
Yeah. No, I'm a huge coffee drinker as well, Rory, and I can tell a big difference between my morning now drinking CBD infused coffee versus traditional. I used to,
really? Okay.
Some mornings have 3 cups of coffee, and while I enjoyed the caffeine pick me up, I did not like some of the jitters that occurred because of that caffeine. And I don't want to say I was feeling anxiety at all, but I could, how it is in the morning when you're rushing to get things ready, you feel like you got a million things to do.
Yep.
Sometimes you don't need that extra jitteriness. What I've noticed with drinking my CBD edibles coffee is that I have more of a smooth pick me up without that morning jittery. And I feel the same way. I'm like, is there something euphoric? Is there something I'm experiencing? But I think it's just more calming and more relaxing to the nervous system.
I think that's what it is too. I think that's what I was experiencing, was just my system overall operating at a much better pace, or at a more reasonable pace, and not having any anxiety, not having any anxiousness to me whatsoever. I think that's really, in hindsight, I think that's what I was experiencing. And I want more of that, to be perfectly honest, because I'm going through 50, 70, 100 articles a day, going through all this nonsense that's going on in our world, and that's enough to make anybody crazy. So I need whatever, anything that I can get that will help to ease some of that, because it gets to be a lot. And according to some of the studies that are happening right now, we are in fact seeing some scientific evidence to this, to a relief of anxiety, to an easing of depression, to at least it helps to relieve some of the symptoms of Alzheimer's, and there may be evidence, that it can actually help to reverse. This is according to the article at Natural News. These are not my words. This is not my diagnosis. This has nothing to do with me. So there's a lot coming out. And when you guys said a moment ago that we're on the forefront of all of this, all of the medical aspect of it, it's the reason that it's been kept from us is because of the classification of a Schedule 1 drug, which means you can't do any research on it. I wonder why that's happened. Huh. Now we know why. Now we know why.
It's cue conspiracy music. Conspiracy theory music, like the
Well, there is one thing that I will say is, Rory, is that there's no doubt that we are watching an awakening happening as it relates to traditional medicine.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is that, I don't want to go too political, but when you think of the opioid addiction that's gripping the country, when you take a look at the amount of addiction that's occurring because of traditional medicine, I think people are waking up to the idea that, hey, listen, there's better natural alternatives, and I think that there's no more clear case in that, because we do support full medical cannabis legalization, so that there's no doubt that both CBD and THC medically benefit. There's all kinds of studies. Israel's on the cutting edge of a lot of that research, the clinical studies. But I think that there's no more sign of that than in, like, Oklahoma, for example, a very red state that people said it's never going to get passed, or you're never going to see medical cannabis in Oklahoma, and then they passed it last week. Granted, it's very low THC, but it's very much awakening that people are, like, starting to really question as to why pharmaceutical industry all they do is create products that just simply treat. They really don't cure anything.
One of the things that I think that is helping the awakening are the ads that are just, they are all day, every day on television about these pharmaceuticals, and they all work off of your liver, which is the filter for your body, which, if your filter is being messed with, then the whole system starts getting jacked up, and all of the symptoms that are associated with that they're forced to tell you. And now we're starting to hear more and more of these ads say, well, this is going to kill you if you stop taking it, or it's just going to kill you flat out. Regardless, if you take this medication, one of the side effects is it will kill you. And I think that when people hear that enough, it's like, okay, what else can I do? And you have responses like myself. When I go into a traditional Western doctor, and their default is to prescribe me Oxycontin, and it's like, hold on, hold the phone. You've got alternatives here. You don't have to give me a highly addictive drug just right off the bat. You don't even know me. You don't know anything about me. And I think that more people are seeing that and are beginning to demand something different. And I hope they are anyway.
Yeah, real quick, Roy, I'm at least going to have you chime into this. And one thing that's very important for us with, my CBD edibles, with Elisa's piece, is that we really want to give back to the community. We don't want to keep this wonderful, naturally occurring product. We really want to advocate for education, for spreading information and helping. I really want to work hard to try to keep this space, the CBD, the medical. I really want to work hard to try to keep it out of the big corporate world. I really think that individual freedom, liberty is just so important. And so for that reason, Rory, one of our companies, as far as Elise's pieces, is willing to help others in other communities design products. So Elise, you want to share about that? Because I think that's very important for your listeners to understand. Go ahead, Elise.
Okay, well, I guess I just, we've, my CBD Edibles is the company that Carlos and I work together to provide, obviously the candies we're talking about here today, which, as a side note, if we had a second to talk about the Butterfingers, there's something different going on with those that I'd like to touch on. But Elise's pieces, which is, more of kind of it is a manufacturing and candy manufacturing and design company. Basically what I would be willing to do is, let's say, Jane's candy shop wants to start carrying a CBD candy, and she is just in love with her grandma's carrot cake recipe that has this delicious icing on top of it. If she were to bring that recipe to me and wanted to know how we could, CBD infuse it, that's something that I'd be happy to do for her and, white label or co-package for her. And then she could have, that excellent thing that she wants to be proud of and share with everybody. And it can have these, it can have this supplement inside of it so she can bring that to her customers as well. And I really think that reaching out and allowing, maybe everybody doesn't want to be involved with my CBD edibles, or these, products aren't up their alley, or, they just don't like the logo or whatever it is that they don't want something to do with, that we can bring the product to them in such a way that they're comfortable with it. And that hopefully their customers would be comfortable with it. Because I just think that the more people we get to ingest, delicious items that also, have the potential to feel better, the better off everybody's going to be.
That's a great approach, and thank you for sharing that, because once again, much needed information regarding how we can, get more people educated to what's actually happening and changing lives. I mean, because that's what it's about. I mean, that's what we spend our day trying to do, is help people to improve their life. So, and this is awesome, and I can assure both of you that this is not the last conversation that we're going to have about this. I'm going to have you guys back on, and we're going to dig into some very specific items and keep a little shorter format than what we've got going on here today, and very focused on, like I said, one or two things, and to really focus on the education, because that is huge.
Right. And Roy, we also have a special gift for your listeners as well. Did you want to share that information?
Sure. If you go to thedailycoin.org, there's a banner on the right sidebar, and you can see it right there on the screen, and it's for mycbdedibles.com. If you click that banner, and you're going to have the option of entering a promo code, and the promo code is DailyCoin, and that will give you a 25% discount, which is extremely generous. And thank you very much for that, guys. And that is through Sunday, July the 14th. Or is that Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's the least we could do. We really appreciate you having us on, Rory.
Well, it's great. I'm loving it. It's really nice talking with you, Elise. I always love talking with you, CJ. And is there anything you guys, either one of you, want to leave with the audience?
Go ahead, Elise, you first.
I mean, I don't know that this is the time to talk about that last thing. So, I mean, I guess I just hope that everyone checks this out, check, ideally us out, but, do your research and get out there and see, because I think that there's a lot of fear around this product right now and people not understanding it. A lot of people who could maybe really use it. And so if you're listening today and you haven't tried anything out, maybe go give us a click and give us a try, or somebody else if you're more comfortable. But I think that it's or go read some articles, because I think that it's really a worthwhile endeavor.
CJ?
Wonderful, yes. And then also, with the idea of spreading freedom, liberty, we also know that My CBD Edibles, we are creating affiliate accounts where we want to help support organizations like the Daily Coin. We want to, employ and work with people of all different abilities. We think that that's just so huge. So we want to give back to the community. I think it's very important as we start to build our company and working things out, that we always remain grounded, and we're there for our supporters. We're there for people that purchase our items in both resources and knowledge. So, Roy, I want to thank you so much for having us on today.
Well, I'm really glad, and I'm grateful for you guys spending the time and bringing the knowledge, because that's what we need. So, like I said, we'll do this again in the very near future, and be sure and check out my CBDedibles.com. Don't forget to enter the promo code for Daily Coin and get 25% off. And guys, we'll talk with you soon.
Thank you, Rory.
Great. Thank you.